our next speaker is Siobhan of the Poly_podcast. So Siobhan will be sharing on the phenomenon of hypersexualization as part of a bisexual and polyamorous couple. Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to this because yeah, you know, like we've touched on like sex and sexuality and how polyamory is perceived, and kind of how that interacts with asexuality and purity culture and that kind of thing. So yeah, really excited to see you both and to hear what you have to say on this. So I'm going to unmute you now and I will spotlight you when you're ready.
Thanks, Leanne. Hi, everyone. I am Siobhan. My pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Rich. My pronouns are he, they.
And we are the hosts of the Poly podcast, and we are coming to you from London, UK, but I am originally from Australia, just so you can place the accent. Thank you so much, Leanne, for creating such a meaningful event. We feel so lucky and so proud to be here today to contribute. And thank you to everyone for your donations and for being here. So today we're chatting to you about hypersexualization in non-monogamy. So just to get started, so everyone's on the same page, we're going to share a quick definition. We have looked, thanks, Nick. We have looked through many, many definitions, and we actually came across one that really gets to the heart of what we're chatting to today. And it is actually from the government of Quebec's website. And this is what it says. Hypersexualization involves the attribution by the media of a sexual character to a product or behavior that has nothing intrinsically sexual about it. So there is no doubt that hypersexualization impacts women and female presenting people disproportionately. As a bisexual, polyamorous female, I often refer to myself as a hypersexualized triple whammy. Each of these three identities that I hold carry with them the assumption that I exist for the gratification mainly of straight men. And while it can be difficult to disentangle hypersexualization based on polyamory from these linked identities, here are just some of the ways that I've experienced hypersexualization based on my polyamorous identity. 1, people assuming I want no strings attached sex. People assuming I am only looking for casual sex-based relationships because I have my real and serious partner at home. People not respecting my time and energy. I once had someone on a date say to me that there was no rush meeting me, as it was just a non-monogamous connection after they had rescheduled with me a number of times. Men violating sexual boundaries I have set time and time again because they can't see past me as a sexual object to the human that I am. The surprise I experience when I tell people I take my time getting to know people and that I can usually be quite picky with who I date. Men asking how many threesomes I've had, how many play events I've been to, what my body count is, and why I haven't done more of all of these things.
Now, obviously, hypersexualization does disproportionately impact women and female-presenting people. Witnessing Siobhan's journey into queerness and polyamory has only confirmed my existing knowledge of this fact. I can say, however, that as a bisexual, polyamorous by orientation, non-binary person, I've had some experiences with hypersexualization too. As someone who was raised a man and is male-presenting, sex was marketed to me as something that I should always want, and that there was something wrong with me if I turned it down. Some of the ways I have experienced hypersexualization are people assuming my only priority is to have sex and not build meaningful relationships. People assuming because I am male presenting that I want sex all the time. Dealing with internalized hypersexualization by sometimes struggling to say no to sex when I didn't want it and not feeling empowered to say no to sex, and that there was something wrong with me because I had been taught that men should always want sex. These assumptions that both Siobhan and I have shared highlight the damaging focus of sex that many of us experience and demonstrates the blatant erasure of those who are asexual and polyamorous.
So, capitalism. It's got a lot to answer for when it comes to how hypersexualization exists in Western cultures, and it is the catalyst for adding a sexual overtone to polyamory, which, as we've said before, has nothing intrinsically sexual about it. Under capitalism, each of us are consumers operating under the assumption that resources are scarce and that there isn't enough to go around. In this example, sex and sexual experience are the resource, and through the media, advertisements, some religions, films, and fashion, for example, this resource has been marketed to us as highly desirable, yet very difficult to obtain. Capitalism encourages us to find a commodity to fill the needs that we have. Feeling cold? Buy a jumper. Want a hot drink? Buy a kettle. Want to have sex? Find a partner. while non-monogamous people cannot separate themselves entirely from capitalist systems and culture, redefining how we relate to others, how we build relationships, and operate within an abundance mindset where there is plenty of love and sex to go around, this is opposite to many capitalist values. This redefinition by non-monogamous folk has resulted in our separation, our suppression, and our hypersexualization as needs-filling machines. When really we are agitators that bear a social technology that could help reverse some of the negative impacts of treating people as products. The non-monogamous community is a sex-positive one. We celebrate kink. We celebrate sexual fulfillment, but all too often, both of us find ourselves reminding people that non-monogamy isn't just about sex and that it's not all threesomes and play parties. But then we find ourselves thinking, but what if it is for some people? That is absolutely more than valuable and valid. Where there's a very fine line between protecting ourselves from hypersexualization and shaming new and frequent sexual experiences. For us, by often necessarily minimizing the role of sex in the non-monogamous community, we feel as though we are contributing to the suppression of our sex positivity. Quite often we say to people, just like everything in life, how people experience and interact with non-monogamy is a spectrum, and each of those points across the spectrum is valuable and valid. Some people have heaps of sex, some people have no sex at all, and all of that is completely fine. For Rich and I, non-monogamy has been an experience that is expansive, but also largely personal. There are many ways to engage with non-monogamy, and sex is just one of the multitude of options. Thank you so much, guys, for being here tonight. Thanks for your donations. And thanks to Leanne. Back to you.